Hello there, and thank you for tuning in to the most watched business show in the country. This is the Business Weekly Show here on City TV. My name is Michael Obodu. Please follow me up on Twitter at @mobodu. In the next 1 hour, I'll be bringing you a wrap of all the major business stories for the week, and of course, a lot of stuff on the recent budget presentation. So if you're ready, let's go. The 2022 budget, if you didn't listen to the full presentation by now, I'm sure you've at least heard of some of the key policies mentioned on the day. Arguably, the stir it has caused shows everybody is keenly interested in them and how they will be impacted. But just in case you missed it, here's a summary we've put together just for you.
The Minister for Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, started the presentation of the 2022 budget with an update on the state of the economy by painting a picture with the figures and indicators.
Overall real GDP grew by 3.1% in Q1 and 3.9% in Q2. Thus, the economy grew by an average of 3.5% in the first half of 2021 against the 0.8% in the same period, 2020. Mr. Speaker, headline inflation declined sharply from 10.4% in December 2020 to 7.5% in May 2021, broadly reflecting well-anchored inflation expectations, exchange rate stability, and favorable food prices.
While acknowledging the present difficulties, the Minister for Finance underscored the need for government to raise taxes and announced the e-levy of 1.75% on all electronic transactions.
Bank transfers, merchant payments, and e-mode remittances will be charged at an applicable rate of 1.75%, which shall be borne by the sender, except e-mode remittances, which will be borne by the recipient. Mr. Speaker, to safeguard efforts being made to enhance financial inclusion and protect the vulnerable, all transactions that add up to 100 Ghana cedis or less per day, which is approximately 3,000 Ghana cedis per month, will be exempt from this levy.
The minister also announced the abolition of tolls on all public roads in the country for various reasons.
The tolling points have become unhealthy market centers, led to heavy traffic on our roads, lengthened travel time from one place to the other, and impacted negatively on productivity. The congestion generated at the tolling points, besides creating these inconveniences, also leads to pollution in and around the vicinities. To address these challenges, government has abolished all tolls on public roads and bridges. This takes effect immediately. The budget is approved on appropriation. The toll collection personnel will be reassigned. The expected impact on productivity and reduced environmental pollution will more than offset the revenue foregone by removing the tolls.
To achieve the objective of enhancing entrepreneurship, the Minister for Finance in his speech spoke about the You Start initiative.
You Start will provide our youth with the following: training, skills development, entrepreneurial support, and business advisory services, funding, access to competitive credit and startup packs, enterprise promotion, mentoring, and access to markets, including portals to facilitate digital linkages between youth-led enterprises and other businesses and relevant government agencies.
The presentation ended with the usual sounds of cheers and heckling from members on both sides of the aisle.
So now that you've seen the budget summary, we'll be bringing you reactions to various aspects of the presentation. If you use mobile money or any other electronic transaction option regularly, then I'm sure you'll be concerned to an extent about the electronic transaction levy government wants to introduce. If this should take effect, to send 1,000 Ghana cedis, you now pay the usual 1% charge by the telcos and an additional 1.75% So in total, you pay an amount of 27.5 Ghana cedis. Even paying the 10 cedis, some say is unfair. Then this one too.
After considerable deliberation, government has decided to place a levy on all electronic transactions to widen the tax net and rope in the informal sector. This shall be known as the Electronic Transaction Levy or E-Levy.
The uproar that greeted the announcement by the finance minister was probably one of the loudest all through his presentation. It was probably an indication of how crucial the move was.
Electronic mobile money payments, bank transfers, merchant payments, and e-mode remittances will be charged at an applicable rate of 1.75%, which shall be borne by the sender, except e-mode remittances, which will be borne by the recipient. Mr. Speaker, to safeguard efforts being made to enhance financial inclusion and protect the vulnerable, all transactions that add up to 100 Ghana cedis or less per day, which is approximately 3,000 Ghana cedis per month, will be exempt from this levy.
Electronic transactions have seen significant growth over the years in the country, with the total value of transactions for 2020 estimated to be over 500 billion Ghana cedis compared to 257 billion Ghana cedis in 2019. And clearly, the government has its eyes on a piece of the cake. But some members of the public have raised concerns that this move by the government could undermine its cash light agenda, while others believe it is insensitive looking at the current economic situation in the country.
I've just heard it and I was like, what is going on in Ghana? It's too much. It's too much. This one is not politics. Things are getting tougher and tougher every day. To increase that is too much. So we are pleading with the government. If they can do something about it, it will be very nice because it's too much. I'm not going to lie to you.
Why do you think it's too much?
Paying such an amount is too much. It's too high. The interest rate is too high. So at least the one that we have been paying before, if they can do it for us like that, it's okay. But increase it again is too much for us.
It's very bad. In short, I would say it's very bad. Because we all know what is going on in this country. And we have been, the moment as it come into existing, it has been helping us a lot. But once the government is going to introduce tax increment on that, and then it's very bad. I don't understand this, our horrible people. They are not honorable, they are horrible people. Because we don't know what they use our taxes for. We are not strangers in this country. We know what is going on. They are not helping at all. They are rather taxing.
It's a very outrageous decision by the current government. Looking at the situation we are in now, these are not the times that you have to impose such taxes. It seems he's trying to play with our minds by removing the toll booths and then shifting the money from toll booth to the mobile money payment. It's not everyone that has a car that pays toll booths. So in doing that, it means everyone is going to bear the cost for the toll booth, which is not fair.
However, the government has a justification for its decision to go down this route.
A portion of the proceeds from the e-levy will be used to support entrepreneurship, youth employment, cybersecurity, digital and road infrastructure, among others. Mr. Speaker, taxi this tax is one, and we shall all pay. Mr. Speaker, this new policy also comes into effect once appropriation is passed on 1st January 2022. Government will work with all industry partners to ensure that their systems and payment platforms are configured to implement this policy.
It may secure government some revenue should it be passed, but clearly some will be discouraged from continuing with electronic transactions.
Since they are going to increase the tax on it, then I'll quit. That's all, I'll quit. It will collapse the business because nobody wants to give his money without getting anything better out of it. So if the government increase it, as for me, I will campaign for our people to quit from Momo transaction, that's all.
One of my friends says he might start going to the bank to make deposits so that he doesn't have to pay the levy. There really are concerns with the new tax, and the telcos are also concerned. The telco chamber says the move by the government to discourage people from engaging in electronic transactions and defeat the whole cashlight agenda.
The decision to slap a 1.75% tax on electronic transactions has been met with fierce opposition from a number of Ghanaians. For many, this is a deviation from government's plans of digitizing the economy and an action that will only worsen the plight of Ghanaians. Electronic transactions have seen consistent growth over the years in the country, with the total value of transactions for 2020 estimated to be over 500 billion Ghana cedis compared to 257 billion Ghana cedis in 2019. And according to the government, the underpinning rationale for initiating the electronic transaction levy, also known as the e-levy, is born out of this development. But many believe this new tax will erode the gains made in the financial inclusion agenda. The Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, for instance, fears some policies aimed at emerging victorious over the cash economy will go waste. CEO for the chamber, Dr. Ken Ashigbe, tells City Business News the tax will increase the cost of engaging in electronic transactions.
We know government's push for digitalization and the use of universal QR code. For example, let's take that. And if I go to a merchant, I go to say to buy my watch or take my trotro, and there's a QR code pasted there. And if I scan it, if the trotro fee is maybe let's say it's the charge is 100 pesos, so that's 1 cedis. Then it means apart from the 1 CD, the 100 pesos or 1 CD, I'll be paying 1.75 pesos as tax. And then my colleague will come and take cash from his pocket and would only pay 1 CD. Definitely the rational being would all now start paying cash. So the thing that we have been trying to correct, where you go to say the Accra Mall and you see people go to the ATM to cash money and then go and use that to pay for services at either Game or ShopRite, then that is going to continue. And so, yes, there's the risk of double taxation. There's the risk of making products that are purchased electronically more expensive.
Dr. Ken Ashigbe, however, says the announcement came as a surprise as there were no prior engagements.
Prior to the announcement by the minister yesterday in Parliament, there had been no immediate engagement to discuss it. But if you read a statement or you listen to what the minister said, he made mention of the fact that in the deliberation on this, they sought to protect government's financial inclusion agenda, as well as the vulnerable in society. And then he also added the fact that there will be engagement with industry. So our hope is that this engagement with the Ministry of Finance and then the Ghana Revenue Authority and possibly with other regulators, we would then determine how this tax will be implemented in such a way that the marginal return for government, for Ghanaians as a whole, will be positive and not negative.
Of course, you wouldn't expect this to go down without a fight. The government has mounted a spirited defense of the policies it introduced in the budget. It says the electronic transaction levy, for instance, will not discourage people from going digital with their payments. See if this convinces you.
According to the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, government's decision to place a levy on all electronic transactions is to widen the tax net and rope in the informal sector. The levy will cover electronic transactions including mobile money payments, bank transfers, merchant payments, and inward remittances, and will be charged at an applicable rate of 1.75%, which shall be borne by the sender, except inward remittances, which will be borne by the recipient. The 1.75% will be on the value of digital transactions and exempt daily transactions of a cumulative value of 100 cedis or less per person. The recommended effective date of implementation, according to government, is 1st January 2022. But some stakeholders believe the implementation of the levy will be counterproductive and push people away from using cashless solutions. But in an interview with City News, the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Charles Edubuahin, said government is confident the introduction of the electronic transaction levy will not reverse gains made in the drive for a cashlight economy.
We started analyzing mobile money transactions and the whole e-space electronic transactions from 2017. We engaged far and wide. And I remember in a series of discussions with the telcos, their main concern was that the industry was still nascent, it hadn't matured, and so we needed to be very careful of stifling growth and killing it before it became a mature industry. And we took all that into account and decided to take a step back. But for now, you can't make that argument any longer. If you look at the value of transactions, back in 2016, we had 78.5 billion CDs worth of transactions on Momo platforms. In 2020, we did 564 billion. In 2021, we are estimating that we'll do over 900 billion based on September figures for the year. In terms of subscription numbers, we have over 45 million Momo subscribers, of which 19 million are active. That tells you that this industry is now more than mature. And that was the rationale we put behind it. We are very, very concerned about killing an industry and depriving people of jobs. But we do believe that the industry is so mature and has become an integral part of our lives that the switching costs are so high that nobody is going to do that.
On his part, the senior presidential advisor, Mr. Yaosafo Mafo, says he is confident the revenue to be generated by the electronic transaction levy justifies its introduction by government.
I'm not sure whether people have understood the digital transaction charges. It is not Momo charge. A lot of transactions are carried out electronically through the banking system. These are the transactions we are referring to. We are not referring to me transferring 100 CDs or so to you or and vice versa. That's not the type of transaction we are talking about. We are talking about electronic transactions which are carried out when people are carrying out all kinds of banking transactions. That's what we aim at taxing. And the actual that will be digitalization tax. That's actually, but it was too long a name. It's a digitalization tax. And we just make it very short. It's electronic tax. But there are a lot of people who are doing purchases using electronic means. Of course, they should pay taxes. These are the type of people we want to catch in the system. Because in these days, electronically, people are doing a lot of purchases through electronic transactions. These are the transactions we are looking at in the taxation. The 1.75% tax on this digitalization brings in billions of cedis, not millions. The road tolls bring 78 million. The other one will bring about 4.2 billion. It's a huge difference. So it's cheaper for the government to go to the digitalization tax rather than tolls tax.
The Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA, was probably one of the most vicious groups when it came to the expectations of the budget. They insisted that the government needed to ensure it maintained the 50% reduction in the benchmark value policy because it was their only lifeline as the impact of the pandemic continues to linger. They held a press conference to drive home their concerns. Hear them out. The government had earlier introduced a reduction to discourage smuggling while increasing revenues at the country's ports. But some stakeholders, like the Association of Ghana Industries AGI, had raised concerns about the move, insisting that it made local producers uncompetitive. Speaking during a press conference organized earlier on Monday, President of the Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, called on the trading community not to comply with their directive at the ports, justifying that it will further worsen their plight.
We of the trading community do not accept and will not accept this directive, and therefore ask members of the trading community to ignore this statement of GRE outright. However, GUTAs and their colleagues, stakeholders in the private sector, our doors is still open to the government's quest for stakeholder engagement on the matter as has been promised us. Besides that, we want to make it clear that businesses are under serious distress due to the global effect of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has caused world commodity and freight charges to shoot up to very abnormal levels.
Some have questioned the need for the reduction when it did not seem to reflect in a reduction in the prices of goods on the market. Gutta, however, had a justification.
They say that our prices are very cheap in the market and they cannot survive through. And then when they go to EMT, then they say another thing, that, oh, they did not reduce their price. They are selling prices at high. What an irony of this. So it is not true. We are paying a bit. Don't forget that benchmark value is the only factor of costing. There are so many other factors of costing. The exchange rate that is going up. The freight that have gone up astronomically high. If we had to mark up this cost, these factors, then prices would have gone up in the market over 500%. It could have been worse, but we've been able to contain and sustain because we love our consumers, the customers who buy these goods. Because if they are not able to buy, we cannot even turn over. So it's never in our interest to make the prices go up. It's never true. It's what our detractors are using, and ignore it when they say so.
You've heard the traders, but unfortunately, after the budget presentation, at Tunsium, they clearly are very disappointed because the government had its way despite their calls. And it looks like it's you and I who suffer the consequences at the end of the day. The traders say we should expect prices on the market to go up by up to a whopping 100%. Here's why. Even though the government mentioned the removal of the 50% benchmark values in the 2022 budget, it however did not state when it would take effect. The policy had earlier been introduced by the government to discourage smuggling and increase revenues, but local producers raised concerns that it made them uncompetitive. Gutta, prior to the presentation of the budget, had expressed strong opposition to the removal of the concession, arguing that it would further worsen the plight of the trading community from the impact of the pandemic. President of Gutta, Dr. Joseph Obing, says the move by the government will cause a general hike in the price of goods on the market.
We are hoping that government being sensitive to the plight, because they themselves were the one who tried to prefer a solution for us. And we thank them for that. So we know that we will sit down and then make sure that we talk through this problem, that they do not reverse us to any problem that we have been fighting or the businesses have to contend with. But if it should come, all that it is that prices are going to almost double, because duty is going to be doubled, because remember the thing is 50% benchmark reduction. So if it is removed, it's 100%.
Dr. Obing emphasized that the cost of doing business had gone up, and adding the removal of the discount would overwhelm the trading community.
The benchmark value have been the mitigating factor that have helped the Ghanaian consuming public by the effects, the harsh effects of the COVID pandemic, the world astronomical price increases, where commodity prices have gone up astronomically. The freight charges have gone up as well. In all, they've gone up extremely high. In the case of freight charges, gone from about 3,000 to almost 15,000. Where commodity prices have gone up between 50% to about 200%. The businesses that we used to do have come down. Our turnover have gone down because of these effects. Our consuming public cannot patronize our goods for us to also to turn over. And when we have the little to trade with, we cannot buy the same quantities of goods that we used to buy because prices have gone up elsewhere.
The government also mentioned that it would submit the tax exemption bill before Parliament to trim wasteful tax exemptions. This will ensure the country gains significant returns from companies enjoying tax exemptions. This is commendable because what's the point of introducing new taxes if you're not making any effort to seal loopholes with the already existing ones? Tax exemptions are good, but why give them to organizations that can live without them? Tax analyst Francis Timorboy has lauded the government's effort at streamlining the country's tax regime to prevent large companies from abusing tax exemptions.
Tax exempt refers to income or transactions that are free from tax at the federal, state or local level. Usually, the granting of tax exemptions has been used as a bait to lure companies to invest into specific sectors. Data from the IMF estimates that Ghana loses between 3 to 5% of GDP to the current tax holiday regime, which represents approximately 21.7 billion Ghana cedis for the 2021 fiscal year. The high tax exemptions rate in the country has been identified as one of the contributing factors to the poor domestic revenue collection system. As a result, tax consultants and stakeholders have been calling on government to take a second look at the tax exemptions regime if it is to rake in more revenue for the state. Delivering the 2022 budget statement and economic policy to Parliament on Wednesday, Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta noted that government is putting in place measures to handle wasteful tax exemptions. Reacting to the announcement, tax analyst Francis Timorboy said the move will narrow the huge gap in the tax system.
Yeah, it's good because the tax exemption has been overdue. We have been talking about this since 2018 when the bill was presented to Parliament. We are told that 2022 they are going to streamline it. That is a very good thing because the amount of money we give big companies can cater for these levies that we are seeing. So far, the government has projected to collect the e-levy about 7 billion cedis. I mean, this can take the tax exemption, the number of exemptions we give can cater for these levies, and then we all be free. And I think it's a good thing to do.
City TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access City TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and StarTimes box. City TV, it's your world.
As part of its plans for next year, the government projects to grow its monetary value of all the finished goods and services produced in the country by 5.8%. It's commendable that we are projecting some growth as we continue to grapple with the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Economist Corey Marty is confident government will be able to achieve its growth target as long as it revamps the extractive sector, among other measures.
According to data from the Bank of Ghana, developments in the domestic economy continue to point to sustained recovery in economic activity following the downturn at the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic. The latest data from the Ghana Statistical Service indicate a strong pickup in the annual GDP growth to 3.9% in the second quarter of 2021 from the 3.1% recorded in the first quarter and a 5.7% contraction recorded in the same period of 2020. In terms of sectors, agriculture and services recorded growth of 5.5% and 11% respectively, while industry contracted by 4.3%. According to the 2021 budget, however, the government is targeting an overall real GDP growth of at least 5% for 2021. Like was done last year, government has shown confidence in the prospect of the economy for next year by targeting a GDP growth of 5.8%. This was captured in the 2022 budget presentation, which was made in Parliament by Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Here is Mr. Ofori-Atta sharing government's full macroeconomic target for the year 2022.
The following macroeconomic targets are set for 2022. Overall real GDP growth of 5.8%, non-oil real GDP growth of 5.9%, end December inflation rate of 8%, fiscal deficit of 7.4%. Primary surplus of 0.1% of GDP and gross international reserves to cover not less than 4 months of imports.
Speaking to City Business News on the overall real GDP growth target for the year 2022, economist Courage Marty noted that a revival of the extractive sector will go a long way to help government grow at its targeted rate next year.
I recall vividly the IMF projection in a World Economic Outlook, and they projected 6.2% for Ghana in 2022. Now, if I juxtapose that with the government's 5.8% for 2022, you can argue that that is quite conservative. And that should be in line with the consensus forecast you start to see going forward. And it also confirms that the economy is still recovering and still operating below potential. And so 5.8% for 2022 for us is not far from what we could be doing in 2022. So I think that is more like it. And again, on the back of the fact that if we get the extractive sector recovering, because one of the biggest drag we have on overall growth for 2021 is the extractive sector. If we have the extractive sector rebounding and other sectors sustaining their recovery, we should be able to climb above 5% and head towards that 5.8% for 2022, in addition to the implementation of the Ghana Cares program, with spending going into productive sectors like agriculture, ICT, and manufacturing. We believe that these are areas that can propel growth. So 5.8% is well within reach, and we should be able to play around that area for 2022 for growth. So we are not pessimistic about the growth forecast for next year at all.
Let's bring you some news now from the father of Ghanaian digitization. The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has been on his usual crusade. He has tasked the banking community to be proactive in developing specific digital products for different types of customers. He says that this is important with the introduction of the ECD. The electronic currency was introduced by the government to serve as an alternative to cash to drive the whole cash-light agenda.
The government has adopted digitization as key policy and has also recently introduced a number of programs, including the Ghana Post Digital Address System, mobile money interoperability, and the ECD, which is yet to be operational, in order to develop a more digitally accessible public sector and encourage transparency. Speaking at the 25th National Banking Conference under the theme, The Digital Economy of Ghana, the strategic role of the banking industry, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia tasked the banking community to be proactive in developing specific digital products for different types of customers with the introduction of the ECD.
Ghana's universal QR code and hopefully the introduction of the central bank digital currency, the ECD, will go a long way to push the cash-light agenda. With the introduction of the ECD in the offing, commercial banks should be proactive in developing digital assets and products for different categories of customers. Banks should also leverage on the digitization agenda of the government to improve credit to the private sector. As banks continue to invest in digital platforms to facilitate and ease in trade and transactions, adopting a more fintech approach will spur innovation for the benefit of their cherished clients. Ladies and gentlemen, I implore all stakeholders to explore possible synergies and partnerships in advancing digital technological innovation in a bid to redefine the banking sector, which will ultimately spur economic growth. I wish to reaffirm government's efforts in spearheading the national digitalization drive through robust policy-making initiatives and a conducive environment. In conclusion, I urge the Chartered Institute of Bankers to lead the charge in capacity building for an innovation-driven banking industry.
The Digital City, or ECD, is intended to complement and serve as a digital alternative to physical cash, thus driving the Ghanaian cash-light agenda through promotion of diverse digital payments while ensuring a secure and robust payment infrastructure in Ghana. It also aims to facilitate payments without a bank account, contact, or smartphone, by so doing boosting the use of digital services and financial inclusion amongst demographic groups. Head of FinTech and Innovation at the Bank of Ghana, Kwame Ejipong, speaking at the same event, highlighted the difference between the ECD and mobile money.
Ghana's central bank digital currency will be interoperable in Ghana and therefore will work across every payment platform. Let me also clarify that despite CBDC being a digital form of payment instrument, it is not the same as mobile money. Mobile money is an electronic token issued against bank deposits. So the ECD does not replace mobile money. The ECD, similar to notes and coins, does not come with fees. However, there may be fees charged by banks and payment service providers for their value-added services, such as remittances, bill payments, and other value-added services. This system is designed to manage some of the complexities that would have been burdensome on the average consumer. For instance, the ECD notes are designed in denominations, but consumers will not be involved in the creation of change or splitting of notes. The system does that automatically. You can therefore spend 5 cedis out of your 20 cedis in your wallet, and your new notes will be created within your wallet. Effectively, that change will be created in the system and in-app.
Now to some very bright news from the mining industry. Indigenous mining firm Goldfields Ghana presented a dividend of 159 million Ghana cedis for their 2020 financial year. It's great news, right? At least it shows that the pandemic did not cripple every sector of the economy. The interesting part is that Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is advocating the need for the establishment of a local gold refinery in the country. He says being one of the largest exporters of gold in Africa for the past 3 to 4 years, this will go a long way to help stabilize the economy. Clearly, the prophet catches chairman's eyes. Wow! But well, it's still a very good call.
Ghana currently has 2 private refineries in operation, the Gold Coast Refinery and the Sahara Royal Gold Refinery. In October 2019, the government reaffirmed its commitment to establish a state-owned gold refinery through the Precious Minerals Marketing Company (PMMC). A significant portion of the unrefined gold is exported for processing, mainly to Switzerland, South Africa and the UAE. In line with broader industrialization and local value addition policies, the PMMC, which serves as the national assayer, partnered with Ghana Royal Gold in 2018 to construct a state-owned refinery to stimulate the local industry. Construction of the new refinery commenced in 2018 at an estimated cost of approximately $20 million. The move is expected to boost fiscal revenue and create employment opportunities in manufacturing. Addressing the media when Goldfields Ghana presented a dividend of 159 million Ghana cedis for the 2020 financial year, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta reiterated the need for the establishment of more local gold refineries in the country.
For us, as Ghana being the largest exporter of gold in Africa, I believe, for the past how many years? 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
And we don't have an LBMC refinery in town. The last we did, if we were some analysis, if we were to refine 10% of all the gold that leaves here with an LBMC license, we end up with about $55 million of profits from that. And the more we export, the more we refine, the more we will get. I think Africa produces about 820 tons of gold from the 15 main countries a year. And I think maybe it's only South Africa and maybe Zimbabwe that have, refineries of any capacity. So imagine being able to refine all of this gold on the continent before it goes with LBMC licensing. That is an incredible amount of resources that we should. So we also need support to be able to build a refinery.
Executive Vice President of Goldfields West Africa, Alfred Bako, expressed his outfit's firm commitment to support government to build a refinery as well as develop the communities in which they operate.
We fully support the move to actually have a refinery in the country, especially now that we are the leader on the continent. We fully support that. And once we have the refinery with the LBMA certification, why not? We'll definitely cooperate and make sure that we can assist to make sure that we can kick off in this area. The LBMA certification is something that is very dear to our heart because it is, we are listed on New York Stock Exchange, and we want to make sure that wherever we are actually refining our bullion, we don't have conflict gold.
Goldfields Ghana Limited presented an interim dividend and guaranteed advance payment totaling 159 million Ghana cedis to the government for the 2020 financial year. 146 million Ghana cedis of the dividend is coming from the Takwa mines, whilst 13 million Ghana cedis is from the Damang mine.
We turn our attention now to tourism-related stories. It looks like things are bouncing back gradually for the sector. The Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Awal, says 411,000 international passengers have arrived in the country as of September 2021. This is a significant increase following a major dip in international tourist visits into the country due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Hopefully, the numbers should be much more as the Christmas approaches.
The hospitality industry took a major hit from the coronavirus pandemic as it relied heavily on international arrivals to thrive. But with the news of the efficacy of various vaccines across the globe, economies are reopening and things are beginning to return to normalcy. Minister for Tourism, Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Awal, answering questions in Parliament on Tuesday, indicated that various initiatives implemented by government in tourism have contributed to an increment in the number of international arrivals in the country.
The Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture and its implementing agency, the GTA, has put in place innovative measures to improve international tourism arrivals. One of such measures is the Beyond the Return program. The Beyond the Return initiative is a 10-year program and a full-up. The successful year of return in 2019 that attracted thousands of visitors to Ghana. Beyond the Return has 7 pillars geared towards strengthening relations with the diaspora community and promoting tourism. Through this partnership, Speaker, a road was recently named after Ghana and Bedstay, Brooklyn. The Speaker, secondly, another initiative, December in GH. These are events and activities organized in December to attract both international and domestic patrons, especially second and third generation Ghanaians, one in Europe and America.
Dr. Awal also indicated to Parliament that an amount of 1.8 million Ghana cedis has accrued as revenue from visitors to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park alone from 2017 to date. Dr. Awal made this known in response to a question from the MP for South Tong, Kubena Woyome.
Mr. Speaker, the cumulative amount accruing to the Quantum Mineral Park since 2017 up to September 2021 is 1,881,803 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, the Quantum Park is now being rehabilitated. We are doing a very comprehensive rehabilitation. A consultant has been procured, and next Monday we meet him to review the plan that is brought. But the rehabilitation includes addition of army block, shops, and eatery to add value to it and make it a truly attractive edifice. Thanks.
To the Volta region, and the Volta Trade and Investment Fair is currently ongoing, and it's part of efforts to drive business and development to the region. We'll be bringing you a wrap of the event so far, and hopefully you'll be interested in visiting the region soon to check out all of its rich potentials.
The 5th edition of the Volta Trade and Investment Fair, under the theme Creating Enabling Environment for Agribusiness, Tourism and ICT companies, got underway from Monday, November 15, 2021. The fair, which ends on the 28th of November, will see business owners from the entire country and neighboring ECOWAS countries exhibit their products for the general public. The preceding fairs, beginning in 2009, only focused on investment, culture, tourism and agribusiness, but this year's edition adds ICT to the bill in a quest to make the Volta region an incubation hub for Ghana's digitization agenda. City Business News checks shows that hotels in Ho and other parts of the region have been booked to capacity for the 2-week event. Momentum has gradually been building up at the Ho Sports Stadium as businesses have been mounting up their stands in anticipation of an eventful trade fair. Some of the business owners have been speaking to City Business News.
We are hoping to see more people, more participants, more business people, more investors.
We are expecting to showcase this car to the entire world, the entire Volta region, the entire country, for them to know that there's a new brand or there's a new chap in the system called Jector, and it's taking over the market.
Due to the COVID, we have not been selling. Business has been down. Our product has been indoors. We have not been opening shops. And you know, we sell clothes. The white has to come down to come and buy. Due to the COVID, the airport was locked. We don't sell. Nothing has been going on. But we are hoping that this fair is going to make us get our customers.
The chairman for the Volta Development Forum, Mr. Daniel Agboka Jagede, says his outfit is fully prepared to host business owners in marketing their products.
We as Volta Development Forum too, we are trying to push things together, meet the people who are coming here, because this is the forum for us to champion the developmental issue that are concerning the region. We are encouraging people to troop in numbers to come and see what we have in the region. The tourist sites are there for them to visit. Volta region is a very unique region. They should come in numbers to explore what we have.
Some residents in Ho say they expect to see homegrown products and services on display at the fair.
My strategy for this one is the youth. I want to see how the youth will be empowered with this fair. I was thinking and hoping in the first place that I want to see the vendors that will be here should be Voltarians and homegrown guys. I want the Volta youth themselves to take charge of the place.
There are businesses in this region that people don't know about. So the fair can help propel this business. I'll bring a lot, because a lot of people are coming from different angles to this fair. So it in a way markets their businesses.
Finally, to the agricultural sector, and the civil society organization in Ghana's cocoa sector, Solidaridad, says rural service centers are crucial in the provision of farm management services to help transform Ghana's cocoa sector. The CSO believes giving attention to such service centers will help significantly boost Ghana's outputs in cocoa production. The service delivery models proposed by Solidaridad are supply chain structures that provide services such as training, access to inputs, and financing to farmers to increase their performance and sustainability. Smallholder farmers are crucial to the country's cocoa output as they contribute significantly to Ghana's production, but due to the remote locations of some of these farms, they lack access to critical services that will enable them enhance their yield. Hammond Mensah is the programs manager for Cocoa Rehabilitation and Intensification Program at Solidaridad, and he elaborates the relevance of the proposal and how it can help smallholder farmers.
Service delivery models are supply chain structures that are deployed by public or private organizations to ensure that smallholder farmers at the bottom of the economic pyramid get the inputs they need to produce sustainably. The one that Solidaridad West Africa is promoting across the region has been christened Rural Service Center. We are deploying these service centers within the cocoa and oil palm supply chains across West Africa. In the programs that we are deploying these rural service centers, these rural service centers are promoted or championed or rolled out by private actors, by young men and women within the communities who have seen the opportunity of providing paid or market-oriented services to the smallholder farmers within their jurisdiction, so that they, in the process, can create jobs for themselves, for other young men within the community, and improve the overall productivity of the cocoa sector.
He further stressed the importance of government adopting this model to ensure essential services reach such cocoa farmers.
Solidaridad is collaborating with the Cocoa Health and Extension Division to ensure that the rural service centers that exist within the cocoa sector participates in the productivity enhancement program that CHED is rolling out in Ghana. Currently, we have some of these rural service centers providing cocoa swollen shoot viral disease treatment to some selected smallholder farmers in the Western North region. So in terms of policy direction, it will be good if Cocoa Board can consolidate and expand this collaboration because in the cocoa sector, there's very little one can do without Cocoa Board. And so it will be good that this rural service center idea is institutionalized at the regulator level. It becomes easier to deploy these models across the sector that way.
Well, this is all time will allow us for this week's edition of the Business Weekly Show here on City TV, your most watched business show in the country. Our website, citybusinessnews.com, has regular business news updates for you. And don't miss out on the Business Dashboard, which airs at 10 p.m. sharp every weekday, with a repeat the following day at 7 and 10:30 a.m. on City TV. My name is Michael Obodu. Please hit me up on Twitter at mobodu. Catch you same time next week. Stay safe, stay informed, and bye-bye.